to The Fitterist Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. When gyms shut down across the country, people obviously resorted to outdoor and at-home fitness workouts, which kind of begs the question, why do we go to the gym anyway? Well, different variables could include health, vanity, focus, discipline, commitment, community, and even a social element to complement one's life. Also, back in episode 47, we mentioned Tonal Fitness, and they're back in the news after securing a new funding round to continue their quest to be the Peloton of strength training. Finally, we take a closer look at Peloton, the leader in the in-home digital fitness craze. What makes Peloton successful? And can they fend off both the reopening of gyms and increasing competition in the home? That and more in this week's show. So, let's dive in. When gyms shut down, Americans got creative, and many people were finding relatively straightforward workarounds to their formal, loyal gym-bound exercise habits. Bicycle shops sold out of bikes, and Pelotons are still back-ordered up to as much as 8 weeks. Even simple hand weights and kettlebells have been hard to come by. But as gyms start to reopen, people are kind of finding a craving to get back to the gym. Why is that? Well, let's take a little bit of a historical view way back when Jack LaLanne was one of the first people to really push fitness and exercise on his TV show back in the 1950s, which paved the way for people like Richard Simmons, Jane Fonda, and many others that fueled both fitness classes and jogging, weightlifting, the advent of the health club boom in the 80s, jazzercise classes, and the American fitness market has really been growing steadily ever since, pre-pandemic, of course. And they just expanded into things like yoga and soul cycle and spin classes, CrossFit, creating entirely new workouts, step aerobics, all different types of working out. In gyms, they've also kind of flourished. Now, with companies like Planet Fitness, it's only $10 a month for a membership in a low-pressure environment. They even have monthly free pizza nights. At the other end of the spectrum, you've got Equinox, luxury gym chain that offers high-end apparatus, high-end equipment, skincare products in its locker rooms, massages, the whole gamut. But all of these health clubs and gyms aren't just selling physical activity. Again, when you look at our culture in general, working, being industrious, diligent, heads down, hardest worker in the room is highly popular. Many people want to be perceived as people who value exercise because it shows they're committed to self-improvement, hard work. And part of the satisfaction of gym going comes from being around other people who share those same values that you're performing in the gym with your discipline, and from achieving what that community regards as, quote, success. And that psychological cycle of that work and reward system means that when gyms close, there's more of a toll on some of those people that go to the gym. There's something about performing exercises in public around like-minded people that creates more endorphins when you're publicly displaying that commitment, that work ethic alongside like-minded people. There's something about that old adage of, what do you do when no one's watching? Even though you're working out fine by yourself at home, there's just something different about doing it in a community where other people can actually see you, where you're feeding off the energy of others working out diligently alongside yourself. It's not just you in an empty bedroom on a Peloton with a screen, but it's more communal. Another element to working out at the gym is just getting out of the house, having that control element that it's not your home. People sometimes have very different mindsets of what they do at home, at work, at the gym, at the park or golf course, wherever they are. And that mental mindset sometimes creates added benefit when you are focused at going to a gym for a specific purpose. Another element of the gym is that people aren't just necessarily missing exercise, but they're missing having another institution, another pillar in their social life where they're irregular. Even though they may not know the names of all the people in the gym, they see the same people for the most part every day because the same people are committed to working out and they feel like they're part of that community. And by returning to the gym, people get a little bit more of that psychological sense of normalcy. Even if when you go back to the gym, you're wearing masks, social distancing, every other machine, fewer capacity in the gym are still not necessarily normal, you're still seeing, hopefully, the smiling faces of those people in the gym that welcome you on a regular basis. Our next story. We mentioned these guys back in episode 47 of the Fitterist Show, but another emerging power player in the workout at home digital fitness market, Tonal, has raised a new $110 million of new funding to expand in the crowded home fitness space. Now, executives didn't actually disclose the valuation of the funding round, but people familiar with the deal say it remains still under $1 billion. So it's probably somewhere between 500 million plus, probably closer to 500 million than $1 billion. But with this new funding, the company has raised now 200 million to date and said that its current valuation is again somewhere between 500 million and $1 billion, probably closer to 500 million. In addition, Tonal counts now 20 pro athletes as investors. It's pretty impressive. They've got Serena Williams, Klay Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, Rudy Gay, Kyle Rudolph, Steph Curry, professional golfer Michelle Wie, Paul George, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks. They've got a pretty good roster of professional athletes who advocate for and actually use their product. Now, Tonal CEO Ali Aradi told CNN Business that the world has shifted to working out at home. And the success of Peloton and now the entry of Apple with its Fitness Plus subscription service have just validated that shift is even accelerating. Now, he says that people aren't going to go to the gym as the primary place where they work out anymore. They want to work out wherever they are, and we think that is the future. I got to disagree with that statement because people are still going to go to the gym occasionally, but his premise of working out wherever they are and having a tonal system required that is not portable when you travel, or go around, or coming home from work, there's trade-offs. But both Peloton and Tonal are excited about Apple's entry into the space because it just legitimizes the space, and they're actually going after slightly different target markets because the Tonal system costs about $3,000, not including taxes, delivery, and the subscription fee of $49 a month. And of course, again, all this was covered in detail in episode 47, and I'll provide a link to that in the show notes. But an extra $495 buys you a smart accessory bundle that includes things like smart handles, a bench to do all the exercises, a mat, and a roller. Now, with the announcement of this new funding round, Tonal did decline to say how many Tonal machines it has actually sold to date, but they did say they're on track to do over $100 million run rate in terms of their sales. So its business has faced some pandemic-related challenges according to the supply chain, which has impacted some delivery times for the Tonal product. Overall, Tonal's doing pretty well. Now, Tonal also announced, in addition to its funding round, that it is collaborating with the Mayo Clinic on a clinical trial that uses its product in physical therapy applications. The Mayo Clinic confirmed that the trial plans to start early next year. So that's good. Anytime you can use equipment in additional physical therapy applications, it's a good thing. So even though it's got fresh funding, certainly Tonal continues to face competition from Peloton. Obviously, Lululemon that acquired the startup Mirror for $500 million. Earlier this year is a competitor, as well as Tempo, the Tempo home fitness competitor, where the user actually uses physical weights. They raised $60 million in new financing in late July for Tempo. So one interesting thing of note as you start to look at the competitive landscape across digital fitness providers, and the parallels a little bit to digital movie and TV entertainment. So you've got companies like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Apple TV, Peacock. They are all competing for talent, shows, writers, viewers, and more. In the fitness space, you've got Fitness Plus. Apple's going to be wading in and competing with people like Peloton, Mirror, Tonal, and Tempo. And digital fitness will start to become as competitive and crowded as maybe streaming video. You've got about 5 to 7 big major players. And it'll be interesting to see, particularly as these fitness studios will start to compete for talent, fitness trainers, etc., to try to provide an edge to their integrated fitness offering. So to that point, will we, in the future, start to see maybe exclusive talent signings to a specific home fitness platform in the future? Will trainers and instructors start to get locked up from some of these major players in the at-home digital fitness space? Well, stay tuned. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. And in our third news story, Peloton has emerged as a leader in revolutionizing fitness routines by combining hardware, their bike and treadmill, software, and content into a single integrated connected fitness subscription, which generates recurring revenue for multiple years from its user base. With strong unit economics, a pretty long runway for growth, both domestically and globally, Peloton could continue to experience serious growth and lead the digital fitness revolution. Now, before we apply this to Peloton, it's worth looking at a couple of strategies with regard to the business. So first up is a capability-driven strategy. And this is the idea that companies should really just focus exclusively on what they're best at. So don't get bogged down in a lot of the details of the full business strategy. Just focus exclusively at what you're really, really good at. And we can compare and contrast that a little bit with vertical integration, where vertical integration is really building out and mastering every part of the supply chain and market themselves. When you're looking at a startup like Peloton, why is vertical integration kind of valuable? Well, first up, when you're a startup, you probably don't have a ton of huge, deep core competencies. Finding the right way to achieve market growth is really the big driver of success in any early venture strategy. Most of the time, for any highly innovative venture business, the product design, manufacturing, and distribution skills may not actually be available from third-party providers. If you're bringing something new to the marketplace, the skill set might not actually exist. So you're either going to partner with somebody and let them build up their expertise and educate them, probably at your cost, or you're going to build your own capabilities that support these new category-defining approaches, similar to companies like Tesla. Finally, vertical integration is valuable for startups because it can give companies actually more control over delivering superior products and customer experiences at every touch point, which is becoming increasingly much more valuable. In the classic example here, even though they're not necessarily a startup, but Apple. They have very tight control over hardware, software design, the interplay of the two, the user experience and design, as well as owning and operating its own company stores for distribution, for education, for repair and customer support, which has allowed them to also maintain huge margins as they control many of the touch points through vertical integration. So now let's look at Peloton. The CEO of Peloton, John Foley, his vision of a connected fitness company required expertise in hardware, software development, professional video production, fitness studio operations, physical retailing of a $2,000 to $4,000, $5,000 product. And he really didn't have the background in any of those. But John and his team made the decision that the company Peloton would be better off developing its own products and internal capabilities rather than relying on third-party providers for such a new, innovative fitness, connected fitness product. So some examples of this: instead of just pulling a bike in the marketplace, they designed their own custom bike from the ground up with support, the materials they selected, proprietary hardware and software. They weren't just going to slap an existing bike and a tablet together to give the experience that they wanted and the durability that they needed. They decided to recruit and train their own instructors rather than just partnering with, a SoulCycle or Orange Theory, existing fitness boutiques that are out in the marketplace. They actually deployed their own production studios rather than tapping into existing facilities. So they built these out specifically for the realization of that vision. They developed their own network of retail outlets so they could showcase the product, complementing its e-commerce channel rather than selling through existing stores, knowing that they have the skill set and expertise to sell. And Peloton also developed their own white glove delivery and installation service rather than relying solely on third-party logistics providers. Again, they kind of know the product and putting it together, but when you know it's your team, they absolutely know the product, the ins, the outs, everything that could go wrong, how to best fit it, where to best place it in the room, etc., etc. So as you might guess, one of the downsides of vertical integration is cost. These decisions that Peloton made significantly increased their capital requirements. Now, Peloton has raised almost $1 billion in capital. But as the product started to emerge and they saw the durability and quality of the product and the customer experience from early feedback from customers, raising that $1 billion over multiple rounds was not the biggest challenge of the company. And even in Peloton's S1, they describe their company as follows: we are a technology, media, software, product, experience, fitness design, retail, apparel, logistics company. That sounds pretty vertically integrated. So how did it work out for Peloton? Well, obviously Peloton IPO'd in September of 2019, and the product spoke for itself. It was generating over $1.8 billion in annual revenue with positive operating cash flow. And Peloton currently achieves higher hardware gross profit margins, around 45%, higher customer satisfaction scores, a 93 net promoter score, and higher customer retention rates, probably 95%. And those three metrics, hardware gross profit margins, customer sat, customer retention rates, are higher than both Apple and Tesla. Pretty impressive. So for Peloton, the higher capital requirements required to achieve that vertical integration were worth it. But in general, you have to trade off the increased investment, increased operating expenses, increased management complexity with that greater operational control across the entire company value chain. And so far, the formula for Peloton is working. The connected fitness subscription workouts grew over 330% year over year in Q4 of 2020 to over 76 million. That's an average of about 24 monthly workouts per connected fitness subscriber versus 12 in the same period the previous year. So they've got a loyal fan base. And part of that frequency is driven by something Peloton built into their platform from day one, and that is the gamification on their fitness platform. Because they've embedded technology into the bike, they've created a gamified experience. They have the leaderboard where members can compare their performance with others just like a game, and users are even prompted to share their achievements online. join social media affinity groups, follow their star instructors online, and they rely upon this customer connection to their communities to encourage engagement frequency, which continues to drive down churn and obviously increase customer retention. Another key differentiator for Peloton from the outset was that they decided to build professional studio content, and they hired top fitness instructors. They even gave some stock options to some of the early instructors to encourage them to join Peloton. But by hiring these top fitness instructors, they have dedicated studios where members can join remotely. It reinforced Peloton as the brand, as the go-to platform for cycle-based fitness. And Peloton shows no signs of slowing down. They've already announced the expected completion of the Floral Street Studio in London by spring of 2021. So now they're going to increase production of content as well as foreign language classes for the European Union. Now this is going to just continue to serve more diverse workout needs for more members across a wider range of fitness exercises and classes. So let's take a quick look at the economics of the business. Right now, Peloton has a monthly churn rate below 1%. Granted, they have lots of new customers with a mandatory 12-month minimum commitment, so that helps to dramatically reduce churn, but below 1% is very impressive. They also have high unit pricing. So these numbers don't include taxes. Remember, their entry-level bike, $1,895. The Bike Plus, this is with the pivoting screen, $2,495. Tread, their entry-level treadmill product, $2,495. And the Tread Plus, $4,295. And all four of these products in their lineup require a $39 a month subscription for a 12-month minimum commit. One last element on the economics. They have a very high marketing efficiency because they have such a low churn rate. Their customer lifetime value is extremely high, which makes the LTV, the lifetime value of the customer divided by the customer acquisition cost ratio, also extremely high. Again, these are driven up by high unit costs plus recurring subscription revenue combined with really low churn. It's got a very good business model. So in summary, look, Peloton continues to revolutionize the fitness industry by combining hardware, software, professionally produced content into a single connected fitness offering that generates recurring revenue for multiple years. Those economics really help position Peloton to scale. They've got high-priced hardware. They've got a pretty low customer acquisition cost for the most part. And now with the launch of new products and a new factory coming online at the end of 2020, they're likely to penetrate more households, not just domestically, but also globally. Currently, Peloton's trading around $93. Analysts have kind of pegged the value of the stock around $110 per share, which is about an 18% premium to its current price. As with every business, competition never sleeps, and Amazon has just announced a partnership with Echelon to manufacture a connected, quote, Prime bike. I doubt they're going to call it that. They might, which will retail for $500. Now, again, this lacks a smart device, but I suspect Amazon Fire tablets could pretty easily be used pretty seamlessly in conjunction with the Prime bike. So stay tuned for more. It just gets more exciting. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show. You can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody and on Twitter at FitteristMind. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of The Fitterist Show. My name is Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.